Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamindiraya. Ashtaprayasha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bodhale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 4 चैप्टर 22 वर्स 19 संगमः खलु साधूनां उभयेषां च सम्मतः यत् संप्रश्नः सर्वेषां वितनोतिशम्. When there is a congregation of devotees, their discussions, questions, and answers become conclusive to both the speaker and the audience. Thus, such a meeting is beneficial for everyone's real happiness. I think we finished this. Yeah. Don't remember. Okay, purport. Hearing discussions among the devotees is the only means to receive the powerful message of the Supreme Person of Godhead. So there has to be discussion among devotees. There should be discussions, questions, and answers. Discussions is the only means to receive the powerful message of the Supreme Person of Godhead. So, first thing is Prabhupada's conversation. This is Prabhupada's conversation. Purports are what Prabhupada is telling us. First, we have to know that. Then, by following whatever is there in the purports, we will have realization. We will get realizations in life. And when devotees come together, devotees discuss realizations. Realizations are basically what our experiences have been in life. And like I've told multiple times, if you want to experience presence of Krishna, we should do something which is beyond our comfort zone. And then when devotees do such things, then they have those all those realizations, experiences. Then when they come together, then they discuss, saying that this happened, that happened, etc. And then there'll be questions, answers, etc. And these realizations of the devotees is very powerful. That is the means to receive the message, because then we will be convinced, saying that, oh, if this has happened to one devotee, it can happen to me also. And devotees will not discuss some useless material, mundane, um, dharma artha kama topics, right? It will be directly connected to bhakti or propagation of bhakti. We should understand that discussion about Krishna, discussion about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, both are same. Discussion about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means preaching movement. So that also brings realization. Mm. So these are the discussions that have to happen among devotees, not not mundane topics. For instance, Bhagavad Gita has been well known all over the world for a very long time, especially in the Western world. But because the subject matter was not discussed by devotees, there was no effect. See, Prabhupada is clearly saying that this is discussion by devotees. Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita purport. Not a single person in the West became Krishna conscious before the Krishna consciousness movement was founded. But when the same Bhagavad Gita was presented as it is through the disciplic succession, the effect of spiritual realization was immediately manifested. Hmm. As it is. That's why I keep emphasizing every day, saying that we have to read, because realizations come, introspection happens when we read. Introspection has to happen. This is another very, very important thing. Somehow devotees don't think about their own behavior, what they're doing, why they're doing. And the reason is that they're not being pricked. Their conscience is not being pricked. Because they're not reading Prabhupada's books. If somebody reads Prabhupada's books, automatically question comes, oh, I'm not doing this. Oh, I'm not following this. Then next question will be, how can I do? I have these difficulties. Then go and discuss with devotees. This is how actually we internalize uh, Prabhupada's instructions in Bhagavad Gita. Mm. Very, very important. Then the effect of spiritual realization immediately manifested. It immediately manifest. Sanat Kumara, one of the Kumaras, informed Prthu Maharaj that his meeting with the Kumaras benefited not only Maharaja Prthu but the Kumaras as well. When Narada Muni questioned Lord Brahma about the Supreme Person of Godhead, Lord Brahma thanked Narada Muni for giving him a chance to speak about the Supreme Lord. Therefore, questions put by a saintly person to another saintly person about the Supreme Person of Godhead or about the ultimate goal of life surcharge everything spiritually. Mm. Mm. Things have to be surcharged spiritually. Whoever takes advantage of such discussions is benefited both in this life and in the next. Very, very important that discussions happen for which devotees have to read, devotees have to follow things in their life. Then discussions will happen. Otherwise, it will be just monologue. And see, everything has to be surcharged spiritually. Unfortunately, we can very easily surcharge things materially. That we've been doing from time immemorial. Meaning just getting super absorbed materially. But we should get super absorbed spiritually. The word Ubhayesham can be described in many ways. Generally, there are two classes of men, the materialists and transcendentalists. By hearing discussions between devotees, both the materialist and the transcendentalist are benefited. The materialist is benefited by association with devotees because his life then becomes regulated. See this, please. So that his chance of becoming a devotee or making the present life successful for understanding the real position of the living entity is increased. So regulated life is very, very important. I was just talking to few devotees. Uh, Life is not regulated. They sleep at some time, get up at some time. Life not regulated. So if life is not regulated, chances of becoming a devotee, we should understand we have not become a devotee. We are in the process of becoming a devotee. Becoming a devotee means pure devotee, topmost platform. That is the devotee. So we are in the process, and if our life is not regulated, mm, then how we cannot become a devotee. Day before, somebody was saying that too many rules. You put too many rules. I said, no, I'm not putting any rules, first, number one. Second thing, Prabhupada gave us these rules. Third, for what? For regulation. So we get regulated. Our life has to get regulated because this unregulated life is animalistic life. Mm. And regulation means all aspects, yeah, which obviously includes how we dress. It's very, very important. These things many of these things were part of our culture, getting up early, then doing some kind of spiritual practice, then wearing more, you know, traditional clothing. All this was part of our culture. But because now we've forgotten, now all these things seem, though they're just basic regulation. I mean, they're not even like, so to speak, bhakti directly, right? But they help in increasing the mood of devotion. So we have to follow those. When one takes advantage of this opportunity, he is assured of a human form of life in the next birth, or he may be liberated completely and go back home, back to God. The conclusion is that if one participates in a discussion of devotees, he is both materially and spiritually benefited. Prabhupada is specifically mentioning materially also. Yeah, because elsewhere also Prabhupada says if spiritual life is regulated, then material life also gets benefited. Spiritual, material well-being follows spiritual well-being, Prabhupada writes. The speaker and the audience are both benefited, and the karmis and gnanis are benefited. The discussion of spiritual matters amongst devotees is beneficial for everyone without exception. Consequently, the Kumaras admitted not only was the king benefited by such a meeting, but the Kumaras were as well. Mm. So, important points here: regulation, uh, reading, whatever this was presented through disciplic succession, and subsequently discussions, questions, and answers. That is the idea of a congregation. So, congregation in ISKCON cannot come together and not discuss spiritual topics. Mm. Yeah, I mean, for newcomers and those who are not very serious about bhakti, yeah, we might just do Harinam and Prasadam. But if devotees are serious about making spiritual progress, then there has to be discussion. There has to be hearing, questions, answers. And when peers are there, then there can be discussions also. Of course, discussion can happen even as part of questions and answers also. But general, instead of one devotee presenting and the others hearing, when there are peers, there can be discussion itself, not like a class. But whatever, various formats. But the whole idea is that that should be spiritual topics. Then everything will get surcharged spiritually. अस्त्येव राजन् भवतो मधुद्विषः पादारविन्दस्य गुणानुवादने रतिर्दुरापा विदुनोति नैष्टिकी कामं कषायं मलमन्तरात्मनः. Sanat Kumar continued, my dear king, you already have an inclination to glorify the lotus feet of the Supreme Person of Godhead. Such attachment is very difficult to achieve. But when one has attained such unflinching faith in the Lord, it automatically cleanses lusty desires from the core of the heart. Automatically. You don't have to do anything else. Such attachment is very difficult to achieve. What attachment? Inclination to glorify the lotus feet of the Lord. Meaning preaching. Any form of preaching, not just Vyasasan preaching or preaching to 100 people. No. Just wanting to glorify Krishna. Somebody is doing book distribution, they have inclination to glorify Krishna. Somebody is doing preaching, their inclination to glorify Krishna. Somehow we have to glorify Supreme Lord. And Sanat Kumar is saying such attachment is very difficult to achieve. But when one has attained such unflinching faith, unflinching, naistiki, nishta, unflinching, it's not wavering, it automatically cleanses lusty desires from the core of the heart. ततां प्रसङ्गान् मम वीर्यसंविदो भवन्ति हृत्कर्णरसायन कथाः तज्जोषणादाश्वपवर्गवर्त्मनि श्रद्धा रथेर्भक्तिरनुक्रमिष्यति. Beautiful verse. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido. Discussion, association of devotees. Satam, devotees, association. Mama virya samvido. When there's discussion. Bhavanti hritkarna rasayana kataha. Beautiful verse. Let's see the word. Satam, few devotees, prasangat, association. Mama virya samvidaha. Discussion of my wonderful activities. Bhavanti hrit karna, heart and ear. Rasayanaha, pleasing. Kataha, very pleasing to the heart and the ear. Tad joshanat, by that cultivation or by doing this. Ashu, quickly. Apavarga vartmani. On the path of liberation. Shraddha, rati, bhakti, anukramishati. There will be Shraddha, then there will be Rati, then there will be Bhakti. Rati is attraction, Bhakti is devotion, pure devotion, or prema. So, this verse we have to always remember. Discussion amongst devotees, in association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Lord is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and heart. And what happens by that hearing? One gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation. So, and he is freed and his attraction, he's freed, meaning mukti. Then his attraction becomes fixed. Basically, Prabhupada is just explaining that one goes through Shraddha, Rati, Bhakti, which means and that Adho Shraddha, Tada Sadhu Sangha, then Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, Nishtha. mm, then Ruchi, Asakti, mm, Bhava and Prema. So basically, one makes progress. One makes spiritual progress. And just by in the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Lord. They not only satisfy, please and satisfy our ear and heart, but they actually enable spiritual progress. We make spiritual progress. Real devotion mm, will follow in order. Good. This is Adho Shraddha, Sadha Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, mm, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. Will follow. So this is very, very important. That is why we keep telling devotees saying that you can't just devotees say, okay, I'm doing 16 rounds chanting. But 16 rounds chanting by ourselves at home is not going to help us much because our chanting will not be good, first of all. It will be full of offenses, distraction. And we don't, because of that offensive chanting, we don't develop attraction to Krishna. So we have to be in the association of devotees, and here, and then there will be attachment, then bhakti, everything will, Shraddha, Rati, Bhakti, all of it will follow. As silver becomes shiny by being polished, the heart of a materialistic person is cleansed of lusty desires by the good association of devotee. So very, very important. Heart has to be cleansed. Heart gets cleansed by the good association of devotees. Actually, the living being has no connection with this material enjoyment, nor with these lusty desires. He's simply imagining or dreaming while asleep. But by the association of pure devotees, he is awakened. And immediately the spirit soul is situated in his own glory by understanding his constitutional position as the eternal servant of the Lord. Immediately, immediately we realize, okay, we are servants. Mm. And this whole material enjoyment or lusty desires is just like a dream. And we have to wake up from this dream sometime. That's the process of cleansing. Prthu Maharaj was already a self-realized soul, therefore he had a natural inclination to glorify the activities of the Supreme Lord, and Kumaras assured him that there was no chance of his falling victim to the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. In other words, the process of hearing and chanting about the glories of the Lord is the only means to clarify the heart of material contamination. And sometimes this might take some time, but the process is this process is perfect. The process is perfect. So as long as we are hearing, as it is, it will automatically cleanse. It will cleanse. We don't have to worry about it. But we have to stick to this process of hearing and chanting in the association of pure devotees. Then automatically heart will get cleansed. By process of karma, gnana, and yoga, no one will succeed in driving away contamination from the heart. But once a person takes the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord by devotional service, automatically all dirty things in the heart are removed without difficulty. Yeah, some things are removed more easily than others. Others will also get removed. In comparison to karma, gnana, yoga, this dirt removal process through bhakti is very, very easy, without difficulty. By simply hearing, chanting, hearing, chanting, it will be removed without difficulty. But again, our life's experiences might be different. We are not yet completely cleansed, but it will happen. We have to just stick to the process. That is why one should be able to do ahitukya pratihata bhakti continuously, for 15 to 18 years, Prabhupada says, and then everything will be washed out. There won't be any scope for anything dirty to remain. And all of us have had experiences to different levels of different levels of cleansing has already happened from the day we came into Krishna consciousness. But then now the last, whatever is remaining, is really the super dirt, which is stuck. So removing that will require little more time and patience and enthusiasm. So we are just have to remain in the association of devotees and follow strictly the process of hearing and chanting. Again, there is regulation alongside, right? We have to understand this. Getting up early in the morning, chanting Hare Krishna, then reading Prabhupada's books, following the morning program, distributing books, doing preaching, whatever, right? All of that whole package has to be followed. Then the cleansing will happen automatically, all dirty things. Automatically, because we don't have to do anything else. We have to just do this. Mm. It might not be instantaneous, but it will be soon. It will be soon. Sooner. Everything will be cleansed. So this is the important thing. Satam Prasangan. Discussion about the pastimes. Virya. About Krishna's adventures. Pastimes. Discussion about Krishna's pastimes in the association of pure devotees. Satam Prasangan. Hmm. And also another indication of whether we are hearing nicely is Bhavanti Hritkarna Rasayana. Like it should be pleasing. We should, there should be some, the heart, there should be some happiness that we feel at the end of Shravanam. Of course, this happiness is not the, sometimes you would say, okay, too much heavy hammering, not giving any happiness. Yeah, that's because there's too much of dirt. So we are not even able to experience the pleasure of the Shravanam. So when the heart is little bit cleansed, then it's much easier to experience the rasa. So we have to come to that stage when hearing about Krishna's pastimes will actually give us happiness. Then we are on the path. Mm. That is why Bhagavatam, first canto, talking about Vritti, it says, Nautpadayat yadi ratim shama hi kevalam. Nautpadayat yadi ratim shama hi kevalam. So if our um, dharma, dharma svanushtita pumsam, the whatever is our prescribed duty, if it is coming or if it is becoming an obstacle, and it is not creating any attraction to hearing about Krishna, then we have to seriously consider, think about our occupation, because it's now becoming obstacle on the path of bhakti. So the whole our life situation should be conducive. First of all, we should have time. Second, we should not be under too much, stress from material, from work and this and that. Okay, occasionally some deadlines, this, that, but throughout the year, if somebody is under like working under so much pressure that, no time, no patience, no, not able to really do bhakti properly, then we have to seriously rethink about our profession or job. Mm. Any questions on this? And of course, it's saying that attachment is difficult. So it requires little bit effort if it is not natural to us. Mm. Going and speaking about Krishna, glorifying Krishna, it's not easy. It's not easy. That's why you see, book marathon, we have to keep pushing, saying that go and distribute, go and distribute, go and distribute, because that attachment is not easy. But then when few people develop that attachment in a congregation, then others will also pick that, get an influence, get affected. Uh, Few people might not get affected at all positively, but the more pious ones will get affected. And then we will also develop that inclination to glorify. Yes, please take Bhagavad Gita. This is going to change your life. This, you're going to become happy by following what is given in Bhagavad Gita. That's all we have to say. Mm. Just become a devotee of Krishna. Krishna is the source of all happiness. You will also be happy. That's all. What else do you have to say? Everybody is looking for happiness. Go out, New Year, say, oh, Happy New Year. Happy? Oh, where is happy? Here, Bhagavad Gita. This is happy. Take this. Yeah, Prabhu.
Yes, Vijay, just wanted to share one realization that sometimes office is also okay, but somebody's mind is itself very like they think too much into mode of passion
Hmm.
also, and that also is a problem sometimes. So we have to assess
Hmm.
that during our daily activities. Is it really going to the mode of passion, or how much time it is in at least in mode of goodness, right? If not Shuddha Sattva. So that is also very important part.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but that's also influenced by the environment in which a person is, right? Of course, some people might be generally too rajasic, but sometimes the environment pushes one to be rajasic. So, yeah, if our nature is only rajasic, then yeah, directly Shravanam Kirtanam will have an impact because there's no environmental pressure on us, right? Our life situation is not putting pressure on us, it's just our nature. Then it's good because there is at least no external influence. Then, yeah, by Shravanam Kirtanam, that should settle down soon.
Yeah,
But when that is there, and on top of that, environmental pressure is there, then it becomes very difficult.
yeah.
Uh,
Maybe sometimes what happens is the propensity to do everything right. If it is
mm,
on material sense, then also it disturbs a lot
yeah,
because we can try to do a lot of things even in office and maybe family life.
correct, correct.
Not everything settles, and that creates extra pressure in devotee's mind that okay, why not this with this way things are happening. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
becomes a big enemy when it
yeah,
comes to mind, and
yeah,
especially with me, I have that problem that
yes, yes, yeah, yeah. And at some point in life, we have to remember, come to the stage of realization, saying that material things, we don't have to run behind it crazily, right? It's just okay. There are certain basic standards which has to be followed in everything. Like basic amount of endeavor, everything, just as much only as required, not more. Um, and then the thought that has to come to our mind is, anyway, what is the use of this? What is the use of this? First of all, we don't have things under control, right? We think so much, thinking that it's in our control. So I will think so much that I will solve everything, right? Which never happens. We have to realize that. Now I try to do this, saying when I'm thinking too much about a topic, I realize no, 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 I'm not in control. Why am I over stressing? Krishna is in control.
hmm,
Okay, whatever minimum I have to do, let me do. And because we've done this time and again in our life, and it's really not. I mean, it never come to an end. Just go on and on and on. Something or the other, we will pick up. Mm. So I'm making one practice, which I write down all the worrying things in my head, both material, spiritual. Then I'll see really which of these I need to really worry versus which of these I need to just try and do some action, something. I have to do something, right? Okay, then I just say, okay, I'm going to do this. No, no, no need to worry. Worry is what? Basically, all these thoughts just coming into our minds all the time when we are chanting, etc., is worrying, right? So make a list and then spend some time seeing whether is this really what is it that we need to do when we don't have anything to do? Is to remember Krishna, just chant Krishna's holy name and remember that okay, Krishna is there. That's all we need to do. We don't have to stress our minds with all unnecessary thoughts. So then make a list of all the thoughts that are coming. It might be a long list to start with, then it will slowly start reducing. Then we can see, okay, some of this is really over and above me, right? I can't really do anything about this situation. So drop it. Just leave it to Krishna, saying that Krishna, I'm leaving this at your lotus feet, and drop it. And then others might be there. There are some things that we can do. So then we get into action. Okay, what all things? Maybe make a list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I need to do. Okay, fine, done. And when after endeavor also realize that some things are not moving, that means that it's just not destined, or we have to just leave it to Krishna. We have to remember this.
Yeah.
And very small, mundane, petty things just drop. Don't even bother to action. Like really petty. There'll be so many things which are just simply petty, which have no consequence either materially or spiritually. Just drop them. But this exercise has to happen all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. It's pretty powerful. Uh, just making this list and saying, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, Krishna, I can't do anything. I'm putting it at your lotus feet. Now you decide whatever you want to do. I'll accept. And others, okay, I need to do okay, 1, 2, 3. Just make a note. Third level is no, it's all petty, useless, not even worth thinking. Just drop it. If we bucket our thoughts into these three processes, slowly we'll see that the mind starts settling down. Yeah, but it's a continuous effort. Okay, anything else? Anybody? Hmm, okay. शास्त्रेष्वियान् एव सुनिश्चितो नृणाम् क्षेमस्य सद्र्यग् विमृशेषु हेतुः असंग आत्मव्यतिरिक्त आत्मनि दृढा रतिर ब्रह्मणि निर्गुणे च या. It has been conclusively decided in the scriptures after due consideration that the ultimate goal for the welfare of human society is detachment from bodily concept of life. And not just detachment and full stop, it's detachment from bodily concept of life and increased and steadfast attachment for the Supreme Lord. See, please note, Prabhupada is very, very specifically used this word, increased and steadfast, fixed. It should increase and then remain fixed. Again, it should increase, it should remain fixed. Attachment. Supreme Lord who is transcendental beyond modes of medical nature. So both of these has to happen parallelly. Like Prabhupada gives this example of a hungry man. As as he's eating, his hunger reduces or is satisfied. So like that, as this increases attachment, automatically detachment should come. It can't be that this is increasing and this is also increasing. It might be that this is increasing and for some time it's not decreasing, but this bodily concept of life is remain fixed, stable, right? Not increasing, not decreasing. It's also okay. And then when this increases beyond a certain point, then automatically decrease of this bodily concept of life happens. But the life of Gnanis is only this detachment from bodily concept of life. Give this up, give this up, give this up. No, that is not for devotee. It's both. Both of these have to happen together. Increased attachment automatically results in decreased bodily attachment. Everyone in human society is engaged for the ultimate benefit of life, but persons who are in the bodily conception cannot achieve the ultimate goal, nor can they understand what it is. The ultimate goal is param drishtva nivartate. When one finds out the supreme goal of life, he naturally becomes detached from the bodily concept. Yeah, vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavajam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. The experience higher taste, then lower taste goes off. Here in this verse, the indication is that one has to steadfastly increase attachment for the transcendence, Brahmani, as confirmed in Vedanta Sutra, Athata Brahma Jignasa. Without inquiry about the supreme or the transcendence, one cannot give up attachment for this material world. But the evolutionary process in 84 lakh species, one cannot understand the ultimate goal of life because in all those species, the bodily conception is very prominent. Athata Brahma Jignasa. One So that now that we have come into human form of life, in order to get out of the bodily conception, one has to increase attachment or inquiry about Brahman. Then he can be situated in transcendental devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. To increase attachment for Brahman means to engage in devotional service. Those who are attached to the impersonal form of Brahman cannot remain attached for very long. Impersonalists, after rejecting this world as mithya, Jagan mithya, come down again to this Jagan mithya. although they take sannyas to increase their attachment for Brahman. Similarly, many yogis are attached to the Paramatma. Great sages like Vishwamitra also fall down as victims of women. Therefore, increased attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is advised in all Shastras. That is the only way of detachment from material existence, and is explained as Param Drištva Nivartate. One can cease material activities when he actually has the taste for devotional service. Taste. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also recommended love of Godhead as ultimate goal of life. Prema Pumartho Mahan. Without increasing love of Godhead, one cannot achieve the perfection stage of transcendental position. So the whole idea is this increase and steadfast attachment. How do we develop attachment to the Supreme Lord? How do we develop attachment to the Supreme Lord? Hmm? How do we develop attachment to the Supreme Lord?
By
By hearing about
Sincere
it.
and serious.
By hearing, okay. Then,
by satisfying his senses by devotional service.
okay,
By chanting.
okay. Chanting only when we are in the pure stage. Yeah, what else?
By serving his devotees.
By simply associating with devotees who have attachment. Right? When we serve devotees who have attachment to Krishna, we can see the attachment they have to Krishna in every little thing that they do. That attachment is seen. And then even if we don't have attachment, by looking at those devotees or being with those devotees continuously on an ongoing basis, regularly, we'll also develop that attachment. That is the reason that, hearing from a pure devotee is very, very important. Discussion amongst pure devotees. I mean, my life's realization, one very powerful, big turn in my life happened 3 years back, I think. Or yeah, actually, just Corona year. I heard my Guru Maharaj, his own is Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, for many years he had not talked about Rasa Tattva. He was only mostly talking about Bhagavad Tattva more and more. And then he started talking about Rasa Tattva on Radhastami. And he gave a series of talks on Radha Katha. Actually, when I heard that, my heart changed. Big, big effect. So that is why when we actually do solid Shravanam from many pure devotee, right? In their association, the prema that is there, their attachment to Krishna that is there in their heart gets transferred. It gets transferred. This is very, very important. That see, Prabhupada said it's his books are his devotional ecstasy. So if you can connect with Prabhupada by reading Srila Prabhupada's books every day, Prabhupada's heart is full of ecstasy. So that will automatically transfer. And if we are not able to do that, then we have to do next level, right? His disciples, uh, and then connect with them, so on and so forth. Right? But that attachment has to increase. I'm not asking the question how to detach material bodily concept of life, right? How to reduce bodily concept of life. I'm not asking that because that's very difficult. That is a Gnani Marga. For us, it is increase attachment Marga. As we increase attachment to Krishna, attachment to hearing. And also another thing I've observed, devotees, they sit in class but they sleep. I mean, this is just either, of course, I mean, one of the things could be that they're very bodily tired, stressed out, not too much of bodily seva, etc. Okay, once in a while, understandable. Okay, didn't have time at all, then you sat in class and suddenly just you're so tired that you dozed off. But even otherwise, I see many devotees are not, they don't have the taste for hearing. It doesn't matter whether the same topic we have heard a million times because another time is obviously going to be only beneficial to us, right? So eh, this has to be there. The attachment has to, we have to develop that attachment for which we have to be in the association of devotees here, discuss Krishna Katha, and then it will develop. Reading only is good enough. Like I said, just Prabhupada's books is good enough to develop attachment. But if that is not happening for us, then at least we should be in the association of devotees and hear and discuss. And we should be in the association of those devotees who have attachment. It can be very easily seen if somebody has attachment to the Supreme Lord or not. Just by the way a devotee thinks, acts in connection with Krishna, we can understand if there is attachment or not. Okay? Anything? Anybody? Okay, then we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vanchakalpatarubhyashcha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namah. Antakoti Vaishnava ki jai, Samvita Gaura Bhakta ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranam.